As we step out of February and into March, this is one of those months where the rhythm of Social Security payments can feel a little different. And there is a specific detail that catches many people by surprise. Some recipients will not see a supplemental security income payment at all during March, at least not in the way they typically expect. That situation can feel stressful if you are not prepared for it. At the same time, more than 70 million Americans continue to depend on these monthly payments to cover their most basic needs, including rent, groceries, and medications. So today, we are walking through the complete Social Security payment schedule for March 2026, explaining what is actually happening with the timing and covering a few important updates that could affect how you experience your benefits this month. Understanding these details clearly can help you avoid unnecessary stress in the weeks ahead. Let us start with the most noticeable situation in March, which is the one generating the most confusion, and that involves supplemental security income. If you receive SSI, your March 2026 payment will actually arrive early on Friday, February 27th. The reason for this is straightforward. March 1st falls on a weekend. Because of that, the system pushes the payment forward to the last business day before the 1st. So if you see a deposit hit your account at the end of February, that deposit is your March SSI payment. This is where it can feel a little unsettling, because when the calendar actually turns to March, there will be no new SSI payment arriving that month. It is not missing, and it is not delayed. It was simply paid early. The Social Security Administration has explained this policy directly, stating that when the first of the month lands on a weekend or a federal holiday, they send the payment early so that recipients are not left waiting. But it is important to remember that this does not mean you are receiving extra money. It is one of those moments where timing really matters, because if you budget on a month-to-month basis, it can feel as though something disappeared, even though technically it did not. If you receive both Social Security and SSI, or if you have been receiving Social Security since before May 1997, your Social Security payment is scheduled for Tuesday, March 3rd of 2026. That date remains consistent and follows a different schedule than the one used for SSI. For everyone else receiving Social Security retirement, disability, or survivor benefits, your payment date is still determined by your birthday. If your birthday falls between the 1st and the 10th of any month, your payment will arrive on Wednesday, March 11th. If your birthday falls between the 11th and the 20th, your payment will come on Wednesday, March 18th. And if your birthday falls between the 21st and the 31st, your payment will arrive on Wednesday, March 25th. When you look at the full picture for March, the SSI payments were issued early on February 27th. Social Security payments for early recipients arrive on March 3rd, and then the rest follow on March 11th, March 18th, and March 25th. If your payment does not show up exactly when you expect it, Social Security generally recommends waiting about 3 business days before contacting them, because banks sometimes process transactions a little more slowly, especially around weekends. Beyond the schedule itself, there is a broader conversation happening right now about Social Security, and it is something more people are beginning to pay attention to. A recent update from the Congressional Budget Office indicated that the Social Security Trust Fund could be depleted by the year 2032, which is actually 1 year earlier than previously estimated. If no changes are made before that point, benefits would continue, but would be reduced to match incoming revenue, which comes primarily from payroll taxes. In plain terms, that could mean a reduction of about 7% starting in 2032, followed by deeper cuts after that if the issue is not addressed by policymakers. That is still several years away, and a great deal can change between now and then, but it does highlight an important reality. Social Security is stable today, and payments are still going out as scheduled, but there are long-term questions that will eventually need to be resolved. For many people, this creates a mixture of feelings. On one hand, benefits are arriving as expected. On the other hand, hearing about potential changes down the road can create a sense of uncertainty that lingers in the background. Speaking of how things feel right now, let us talk about the cost of living adjustment for 2026. By the time March arrives, most people have had a few months to see how that increase actually plays out in their daily lives. The COLA for this year is approximately 2.8%. For the average retiree, that works out to roughly $50 to $60 more per month. On paper, that sounds helpful. But in reality, many people are saying that increase does not stretch very far. A big reason for that is Medicare. Medicare Part B premiums increased again in 2026. For many beneficiaries, that premium is deducted directly from their Social Security payment. So even though the total benefit amount went up, the amount you actually take home may not feel much different. Many people have described it as getting a small raise only to have your bills go up faster than your income, and that is a fairly accurate way to describe the situation. There has also been a lot of discussion around taxes this year, and this is something that caught some people off guard. Certain retirees received retroactive payments following changes to older rules, specifically the windfall elimination provision and the government pension offset. Those changes restored benefits for many public sector workers, which was a positive development overall. But here is the part that surprised people. Those lump sum payments can be taxable. Depending on your total income, up to 85% of your Social Security benefits can be subject to federal income tax. As a result, some people who receive those larger payments are now seeing smaller tax refunds or even unexpected tax bills. In some cases, it can also affect Medicare premiums through something called IRMA, which is based on your income level. There is a proposal being discussed right now that could remove taxes on those restored benefits, but as of now, that proposal has not been passed. It is something to keep an eye on, but not something to rely on just yet. On top of that, there is also a new $6,000 tax deduction for seniors aged 65 and older. At first glance, that sounds like meaningful relief. But here is where it gets a little more complicated. That deduction lowers your taxable income, but it does not necessarily reduce your Medicare premiums because those premiums are based on a different calculation. So you might save a little on taxes, but not see any change in your healthcare costs. This is where Social Security can start to feel quite complicated because everything is connected. Your benefits, your taxes, and your Medicare costs all interact in ways that are not always obvious. Another significant change happening right now involves how Social Security itself is operating behind the scenes. Beginning in early March, the system is shifting toward a more centralized model. Instead of local offices handling most cases, work is being distributed nationwide. That means someone in a different state might actually be working on your case. The idea behind this change is to improve efficiency, especially as the agency deals with ongoing staffing shortages. Thousands of employees have left over the past year, and the system is trying to adapt. For some people, this could be helpful. It might reduce backlogs and speed things up in certain situations. But at the same time, there are concerns, because local offices traditionally had a deeper understanding of specific state rules and individual circumstances. When things become more centralized, it can sometimes feel less personal and perhaps a little harder to navigate if your situation is more complex. It is a transition, and like most transitions, it may take some time before things feel smooth again. Stepping back and looking at March as a whole, this month really highlights something important. It is not just about when your payment arrives, it is about understanding how the timing works, how policy changes affect your actual take-home amount, and how shifts inside the system can shape your experience. If there is one practical thing to keep in mind this month, it is this. If you receive your SSI payment early at the end of February, be mindful of how you pace that money through March, because it has to last the full month. It is also always a good idea to double-check your direct deposit information. Keep an eye on your account around your payment date, And be cautious of any unexpected calls or messages claiming to be from Social Security. As March moves forward, the system is still doing what it is designed to do, sending out payments to millions of people on time. But at the same time, changes are happening, both small and large, that are shaping what Social Security will look like going forward.
Yeah, grind mode on, can't kill my drive. Turn the pressure up, I come alive. Grind mode on, I don't fold, I don't quit. Hunger in my chest, every beat I commit. Eyes on the prize, no sleep till it's won. World in my hands when the grind mode's on. Wake up with a vision, I'm locked on the target. Turn pain into fuel, I'm a flame, I spark it. No shortcuts here, I embrace every test. Pressure on my shoulders, still I handle it best. I was made for the climb, every loss, every scar. Built me in the steel, now I shine like a star. If the road gets rough, I just double my speed. Ambition on 10, I was born to lead. Grind mode on, I don't fold, I don't quit. Hunger in my chest, every beat I commit. Eyes on the prize, no sleep till it's won. World in my hands when the grind mode's on. They said limits exist, but I shattered the frame. Every wall in my path is just fuel for the frame. Discipline heavy, but my spirit is free. I don't chase success, success chases me. I'm the storm and the calm, I'm the rise, I'm the proof. Every bar that I drop is the grind in the booth. Blood, sweat, tears, that's the code I trust. I don't wait for the crown, I earn it,